Ah, it's so good to see you.
I'm alive.
You are alive. Well, anxious gamers, welcome back to another episode. But before we get into our main topic, I'm skipping news. I'm skipping what we're currently playing because we're just going to talk about Tears of the Kingdom, and there's going to be a ton of spoilers. But before we get into that, Josh, you're not foaming from the mouth. You don't have rabies. You're not vomiting from a stomach bug anymore.
Yeah.
You look good. You look fresh.
Thanks. Yeah, there's been a lot.
I just want to hug you right
The
now.
last couple.
I feel like we broke up.
Yeah, right. The last couple weeks have been a little iffy. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, just like one illness after the other. Like I had the cough on that last episode we did.
Yeah.
And I still have that cough. But then on top of that, yeah, stomach bugs started going around and just, oh, dude, it was violent. But then, yeah. So Friday night we were getting ready for, we did a joint birthday party on Saturday for the kids. And we were kind of getting the house ready. We bought some new frames for the hallway. So I ran up to the attic. And for those of you listening, we have this door in our hallway. And there's like a full-on staircase that goes up. Do it.
I was like, you keep your kids in
Yeah,
there.
there is a creepy room with a lock on it. An exterior lock. I want to, clarify that. I don't know why it's there. It's kind of creepy. But I'd gone upstairs and was looking for the box of family photos. And so I'm coming back down the staircase, couldn't find them. And at the bottom of the stairs, like I almost stepped on it. I noticed there's like this small bat. And this thing can't fly. Like I think it was just a baby. I mean, it was like maybe that big.
Oh my gosh.
But it wasn't making any noise or anything, and it like I couldn't tell if it was just young or disoriented. But anyways, I was like
stepped on it hard.
I didn't feel anything. And it's like we took a broom, swept it into a box, took it outside, and just kind of set it free in the woods. And then we come back inside, and I'm like trying not to freak out. Like my anxiety's kind of kicking in because like I have read all the horror stories about rabies. Like I know it's 100% fatal. Like once you show symptoms, like that is not one of those things you want to mess with. And within like 10 minutes of us taking that bat outside, the spot on my right shoulder blade just started stinging. It was like a kind of a burning sensation. So I have my wife, I'm like, hey, just like look at this spot. And I do have a scar right there, but like it's an old scar, but it was like burning, and there was a small raised bump, and it was like red around it. Now it could very well have been a bug outside when we went to go dump the bat. It could have been, I mean, any number of things. Could have been a mosquito or whatever, but it just like burned, like it didn't itch. It was like a burning sensation, and I started freaking out. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I could say that statistically, like I didn't feel anything on my shoulder, but I was wearing a shirt. So for a bug bite to have gotten me through a shirt, or even for that matter, I mean, it was kind of a thin shirt, but a bat, I guess, could have. But yeah, I was like, listen, like I'm going to be freaking out all weekend. And like there's no way my anxiety is not going to let me go to the ER. So like, I was like, you just stay here. Like I'll just run to the local ER real fast. And so I get there and I'm telling them this whole story. I'm like, we can't find the bat. We tried to go back out and find it. It was gone. I don't know if something swooped in and picked it up or if it crawled under some leaves or what. But I tell him the story, and he's like, well, based on what you told me, current guidelines is that like you should get the shots. And I was like, I figured.
Because can you get rabies like even without being attacked? Like,
so
or is it like, can it be airborne or can it be
like? You can get it technically from spores that'll float in the air. You can also get it.
Sucked it in.
Or or if you have like a cut or something and you touch like bat saliva or guano or anything like that. You can. I mean, there's other ways you can get it. It's usually through a scratch or a bite, though. It's very zombie-like. So, anyways, then it turns out our local ER does not stock the rabies vaccine.
And you're in East Texas,
Right. Well,
like out of all the places.
So then I have to drive
like,
30 minutes to the next largest town that does have, which they did call ahead and they put me in the fast lane. But, then my wife is with me. She's like, all right, well, I'll go to you, go with you to this one. And the next morning we have to have everything ready for this birthday party. And so I get there and they're like, yeah, it's like an 8-hour wait. And by this point it was midnight. And
yeah, because you messaged me at like 2:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
fortunately, because the local ER had called ahead because they're part of the same hospital branch or chain or whatever, they called ahead, so they fast tracked me. So I was there. I got there at midnight, and I was home by 3:30. But I had to get a Tdap, which is the tetanus, diphtheria, the one you normally get when you have kids.
Yeah.
Had to get that in the left arm, got the rabies vaccine in the right arm. Well, then one of the other things that they give you when you first have exposure to rabies is what's called rabies immunoglobulin. So it's like, I guess like hemoglobin that already has rabies immune antibodies in it. But it has to circulate your body very, very quickly to destroy any rabies viruses that could have gotten in. Yeah. And I had to have, the kind of the love handles, the chubby part of your upper sides. I got 4 shots in those. So total, I had 6 shots in one night. And then I had to go back today and get one more in the arm. And I have to go back 2 more times, the next 2 Saturdays.
Now, you said, was it tetanus? You had to get one of those?
Yeah, they gave me a tetanus, diphtheria.
The tetanus shot hurts.
That one gave me a knot. The rabies one actually wasn't that bad. Like it didn't knot up. It didn't have a fever. Didn't have any reaction to it.
I feel so bad for you, man. So, like, are there any more bats up there? Did you call an exterminator?
I haven't yet. I haven't gone back up there yet. I'll go check it out. But this happened last year around the exact same time. So apparently late May in Texas is when bats roost and they start, that's when they have bat babies and all that. So I got to call somebody, but apparently usually you have to wait until the end of like whatever this season is. I think late summer,
just in case
early
there's
fall.
Like multiple ones up there and stuff.
Yeah, because if there's babies, you can get rid of them, but then they're trapped inside. Because you can't find them all. So basically you have to have a way to get them out and then seal everything up so they can't get back in.
Is this a myth? Did they used to give rabies shots in the stomach?
Yes, they used to. And apparently it was extremely painful.
Yeah, because like the whole like Ozzy biting the head off a bat dilemma in his interviews, like he said he used to just bite plastic heads off, and then somebody was a jerk and threw a real live bat on stage and he bit it off, and he said he had to get like 8 shots in his stomach or something like that. So I was freaking out.
Oh yeah. Like, it used to be a lot worse. Now it's just like a normal vaccine. It just goes right in the arm. The only
but
one
you would think like every East Texan hospital would have like emergency rabies shots. Right.
Well, that's honestly why it took so long, because they had to get it out of the pharmacy. But this lady was like, she was trying to not give it to me. The nurse at the second hospital, she was like, well, I can't find a bite. And I'm like, well, if you Google it, you can't always see them. Because by the time that she got to me, like the redness had gone away, the bump had kind of gone down. I mean, most likely it was probably just a bug bite, but I'll take shots and then be alive. I'm not taking my chances with that.
If you like touched it or like got that close to it, I'd be concerned.
Well, because it wasn't there going up is the thing. It was there going down, and bats are really light.
So it could have got you when you were
walking down the stairs.
Walking down.
It could have dropped off, because we have all those rafters up there. We've got ductwork. I mean, there's no telling where that thing came from.
Man.
So
dude, I see some fangs growing out of you now. Your bloodshot eyes. Castlevania will be real tonight.
I'm totally fine. The only thing, we had dinner last night. I was trying to eat some garlic bread and started gagging on it. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But so the shot I got today, I had to go to the infusion center, which I think is where they do like chemo and stuff like that. Yeah. And I walk in, and the nurse is like, she's like, oh, it's you. And then another nurse walks in. She goes, "Hey, our Batman's here."
That's awesome.
So
Sweet.
keep having to tell this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, it's so good to see you. I've missed you. And all this stuff happened at the perfect time with
So
Tears of the Kingdom.
genuinely though, like we'll get into this, but
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, I have played it every chance I have. Like
Yeah.
this game has been out right around a week and a
or
half.
so. Yeah.
Um,
Do you think that it helped you helped with your anxiety a little bit
yeah, actually, that on top
with
of
everything that you just had to go through?
it actually did because it's engrossing. Like
Yeah.
I've been calling it a distraction simulator.
It is a good distraction simulator.
Because it's like every time you're trying to go from point A to point B, and you make like 15 detours along the way. Like, oh, what is that over there?
Oh my God, yes.
So but we'll get more into that, but that's my update.
Yeah.
So sorry we missed last week's episode. There was a lot happening, but I'm okay now.
And
we're gonna be back to the weekly schedule.
all of you listeners, wash your hands because the stomach virus is going around like hardcore,
And it's a rough one.
very, very hardcore. And it's short lived. I've had it twice this year already. Jess had actually gotten it 2 weeks ago, and then I just randomly started blowing up the toilet again. And I was like, "What did I eat? I've been nothing but healthy. I've lost 37 pounds." And one of my students messaged me and was like, "Hey, sorry, I might have brought this stomach bug to your place, but I didn't throw up or anything, so
Well,
I'm
that's
getting
good.
more immune to it."
Yeah.
So because Jenny's brought it home from daycare multiple times.
Yep.
So,
Kids are little germ factories.
we're doing okay here, though. I'm getting the studio transition. This is my last week in Fort Worth teaching.
Nice.
So got Friday and Saturday, and I'll be done, and I'll be working from home permanently.
All right.
Starting next week. So, but I'm glad you're okay. And yeah. So in this episode, we're just going Tears of the Kingdom.
Just straight up like our reviews of Tears of the Kingdom.
What we've played so far, our impressions, reactions, all of that stuff.
And I'll try my absolute best to be like completely spoiler free. Like I'll mention vaguely some things.
I'm gonna spurt some stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, because I am very, very far in. Like I
Okay.
said, this game has been out a little over a week, and the Switch won't tell me how many hours I have in it. I think you can look at the app, right?
Yeah, you can. I think it has to be like over 7 days or something
Okay.
like that. It'll tell
Maybe
you.
it'll tell me now, but I'm pretty sure I've got well over 40 hours in it.
Did it come out last Friday?
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, last Friday. That's right. Yeah. I'm about 15 hours in. I just got the Master Sword, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's start from the very beginning. Okay, so like we saw the trailers. They clicked with us, especially like the last Al Numa presentation and stuff. The fact that Ganondorf was back in. I mean, we were pretty excited, right? I went to pick up my pre-order at Target, and I had to wait in line.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm talking they were like handing out controllers, amiibos. Target did a free hip pouch, like a hip fanny pack pouch.
Nice.
So I got the game and the amiibo, and I was the last person to get the very last amiibo.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm talking, I saw 6 or 7 people walking out with like the big collector's edition box.
Was that a midnight release?
So one of my students actually works at Target, and he said that it just depends on whoever stocks it after midnight. So
Okay.
they stocked it like 3 or 4 in the morning, but Target opens at 8.
Okay.
And
Because I was about to
didn't
say, I
know
was like,
that
I think Target closes usually around 11.
Yeah, so I showed up probably like 8:15,
Nice.
and there was like 10 or 15 people, and like as I'm walking in, multiple people are walking out with like Tears of the Kingdom switches and controllers and stuff, which I do have the controller on the way, which is exciting.
So I have considered, because the Switch that like my whole family plays on is the one that I bought. It was like a launch Switch, and I've been eyeing the OLED for a while, but at the birthday party, my son got a couple of new Switch games, and like I said, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom like every chance that I get, and that includes like for my job, I'll do things like deploy code, and sometimes it can take 5 to 7 minutes. And like I'll have the Switch on my desk and I'll hit deploy and then I'll go play for 5 to 7 minutes at a time. I'll check my change, upload a new change, another 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll play some more. And then like I've been getting, regrettably, a little snippy with him. He comes in, he's like, "Hey, can I play my new Kirby game?" And I'm like, "Not right now.
No,
not right now. Go find something else to do." Poor kid. So I've been eyeing the OLED. If I'm almost justifying the purchase of the Zelda one, specifically just so we have a couple of Switches.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the upgrade's nice. It really is. And if you're starting to get to that point where like you're having to share your Switch a lot, I definitely understand that. And it's hard because, I mean, we'll talk more about this next week, but like Switch 2 rumors are like fully back in force.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the other part is I could go buy an OLED now, but honestly, I mean, probably another few weeks of Tears of the Kingdom and I'm going to have done a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
And then I think I can wait for Switch 2.
Okay.
Should it be a real thing?
Yeah. Well, I almost didn't get the OLED last year or 2 years ago when it came out with Metroid Dread. But the bigger screen, the kickstand, all of that, and the colors, like it just looked really cool. And Metroid Dread that was such a cool game to launch like alongside the OLED coming out. And I'm really happy I upgraded. And then the Tears of the Kingdom one came out. But I'm happy with the one I have. I think the Tears of the Kingdom one looks really cool and stuff. But yeah. But if you don't have an OLED, it is, even if like you get 4 or 5 months of playing it, it's still really nice.
Almost just for the kickstand.
Dude, the kickstand, and I'm telling you, the screen is one heck of a difference. Yeah. Like, even the sound, the speakers are better. You get a little bit more storage.
Which I've been playing with a set of Turtle Beach headsets, or like a headset.
Ooh.
So that's been really nice. The sound has been fantastic.
You can hear the Malice hands.
Dude, those things. Okay, so what is your overall, if you were to give it a out of 10 score, what are you putting it at?
I would put it at a 10, but it's like, it's really weird because Jess, my wife, made a really good point. She's been listening to NPR. She loves NPR. And like all of the journalists are like, this is it. This is the perfect Zelda game. Like it has everything in it. It has story. It has dungeons. It has, you can craft. You can do everything. I would give it a 10 because once again, Nintendo, like, to me, revolutionized gaming because, like, yeah, you have Minecraft, you have farming sims, you have all this stuff. But the thing is once again, you don't have to do all of that stuff. Like, so for example, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to build. I don't even want to use the auto build function that Link has. So I can just go climb a mountain and get this Korok. Or I can, go and do this shrine and just use a send.
Right.
And, like, bypass it. And I think that, like, is really cool. And plus, they did fine-tune a lot of things.
There's still some stuff that I wish they had fixed as a carryover from Breath of the Wild, but...
Me too. Like, I don't think we needed more Korok seeds.
Dude,
and honestly,
the new ones? They drive me insane. I skip them
And,
every single time. I'm like, he's like, I
and I
need
don't
my reach
think
my
we need
friend, and
like
I'm like, you can keep waiting.
300 something shrines because what Breath of the Wild had 120, and I thought that was doable.
Yeah.
You know,
There's how many now?
I think it's like 300. Yeah,
Whoa.
I thought so. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. But it's a 10 out of 10 for me because it did, like the Sky Islands and stuff. It's flawless. Like being able to just fly up,
Mm-hmm.
go rewind a cliff that falls from the sky or a rock to get up there. Honestly, I would have been totally fine if they like just made a brand new Zelda game in the sky like that. Like that would have been cool because at the very beginning, when you get to the Sky Islands, like it felt like a mix of Wind Waker, like the cell shading and the colors and stuff, and like Ocarina of Time, where it's like, holy crap, like this feels cool because, you know, minor spoilers, the beginning character is the Sage of Light who's helping you from Ocarina of Time. So it's like really cool. Like I was like, sweet, like throwback. That's kind of where I'm standing with it. There's more I want to discuss, but how are you feeling so far?
So I'm like, if we're saying that like Ocarina of Time is a 10,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put Tears of the Kingdom at like a 9.7.
Okay.
So
All right.
like Breath of the Wild, when we did the ranking.
132 shrines.
Oh, okay. See, that's
that
still
makes
that's
sense
still
with the
doable.
Sky Islands.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we did the ranking for Zelda games, like Breath of the Wild didn't make my top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite Zelda to me. I didn't like the memories. Didn't really care too much for the overall story. Did not like the divine beasts.
Yeah.
The shrines were fun, and you know all the powers in the open world. Like it was a great game, and I really enjoyed playing all of it. This one breaks the top 5. Like the story, it's a lot darker. There's a lot more story elements to it. Mild spoiler, I guess. Okay, I need to know where you're at real quick.
I haven't done a single dungeon.
Okay.
I've lit like
Okay, this I'm confused about. Unless I guess potentially it's a separate storyline. But how did you get the Master Sword?
So I discovered it from the
okay.
chasm. Yeah. So I went, fought a you-know-who, and do you want me to just tell you how I did it?
Yeah.
I was just exploring, finding towers, and my brother was like, oh yeah, if you go down in this chasm and follow this path, you can go up the Great Deku Tree and fight Malice Ganon, and then he'll tell you where, or the Great Deku Tree, once he's healed, will tell you where the Master Sword is. Because I had no idea it was in a dragon.
Yeah.
So I stumbled upon it by exploring.
So
because I was,
you haven't done any of the temples?
mm-mm.
Have you done any of the Dragon's Tears memories?
Nope.
Your playthrough is going to be so much different than mine.
Mm-hmm. So I started it by following the story, and I got to like the lookout tower. Started, I got. I looked up how to get auto build because I really wanted that because I'm not the most creative person. So I did that, got the camera, got my whole wheel completed, and then I went to Rito Village because that's where the story directs you.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm super underpowered. I have low hearts. I haven't been doing the amiibos because, spoiler, the amiibo drops are in the game, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
And so I looked up like what's some of the best stuff to kind of get because I was just really tired of getting one-shotted by bokoblins or whatever, and I'm like, this sucks.
So for that, regardless of the outfit, the best thing that I found to do was unlock all 4 great fairies.
Yes. So I am starting to kind of figure out the great fairies, and how they work in this game. I'm still confused. That's something I haven't like fully gotten down yet, but I think I'm starting to piece it. But I went for the fierce deity armor and the sword.
Yeah.
Because your attack's up, and I've been doing the duplicate glitching.
The one where you jump and then you hold the one item?
No. So I've been doing it with the weapons where
the bow glitch? Or is it the shield
you can
glitch?
do it with weapons. Yeah, so it's the one where you equip a weapon, you save the game, you go back to that weapon, you drop it, and then you equip a similar weapon. You press plus, the start menu, very quickly, and then you drop the equipped weapon you have, and you load the game, and then you'll have whatever sword you dropped at the beginning that you want to duplicate.
Oh, interesting.
So I have 3. It works for the shields. It's the same as the shields. I have 3 Hylian shields. I have 4 fierce deity swords, 4 big girl swords.
So
and now the master's sword.
So I did use this because I didn't feel like grinding for money. There is in version 1.10, which is the update they did, I guess, a few days ago. If you jump off a cliff and then put your glider open, and then whatever item you want to duplicate, make sure it's last in your inventory. And then you hold any item that you have of 1. You only have quantity of 1. And then you hold the rest of the item that you want to duplicate, and then close the start menu, and then hit the start menu again. And he'll drop the one item and all of the item that whatever's last, the one you're trying to duplicate, but it'll still be in your inventory. And you can repeat it. I think it's until you have dropped 21 copies. Wow. And then it won't let you drop anything else. And then you pick all those up, and then you can, repeat. So I did it until I had like 60 or 70 diamonds.
Oh my God.
And so I had like 40,000 rupees, I think, total.
That's awesome.
Because
I set a goal for myself. I was like, if I'm going to do the weapons and the shields, I have to find everything else because I want to explore the game.
Right.
And so it's a very weird playthrough. Honestly, I'm kind of like, I want to start over and just follow the story and go in the right direction because it was really weird, like getting the Master Sword so early and stuff.
I almost think that the way that you did it is going to be maybe more impactful, surprisingly, as you do the story.
Yeah.
So keep it the same way that you have. I will say there's a really cool feature in this one that they never showed or mentioned.
Okay.
And it only happens after you do the temple, like each temple.
All right. Cool.
It's a really interesting, it's similar-ish to something that happened in Breath of the Wild, but also totally different.
Interesting. All right.
That's all that I'm going to say.
I just need to do one temple.
I would say do one, and it's going to make you want to go do the others.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, so I've been trying my best to like not look up anything, but I was scanning amiibos, which is great for like quick resources and stuff.
Like meat and fish and stuff like that.
But it's so tedious to like scan. But then I didn't know this. I found out all like the tunics and stuff are in the game, and you can use pose to like get stuff or whatever. So that made me want to be like, okay, I want to like, that's what gave me the sense of wanting to replay the game because I'm already thinking of what I'm going to do my next playthrough. And that's something I couldn't do with Breath of the Wild. And
that is an
now here's the thing. Here's the thing with Breath of the Wild. I think the reason why I have a hard time going back to it is because everything that I unlocked from the amiibos, I would have to do again. As opposed to Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, I know where the big Goron sword is. I know where this is. So it's kind of like Skyrim in a sense, where it's like, those are there and they're not going anywhere until you pick them up.
Right. You should have seen my face the first time I opened a chest, and it was like the Fierce Deity
Mask or something.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was the shirt was the first one I got, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole.
I was so.
Then there's
excited.
the whole quest line, like to get the rest of it, and
yes,
then you get the Fierce Deity sword. Yeah, I was gonna mention the pose thing. Like, do you know about the pose?
So I do. I know that I've been collecting them, and then there's like when you're at the lookout tower, the guy's like pose, and I can see it looks like he's gonna sell several armor pieces and stuff.
So any of those special swords or anything like that, you can rebuy using pose. So
you can rebuy them, or does it just rebuild them?
No, when they break, you can buy them again.
Are they super expensive?
I mean, no, they're it's using pose, and like I think after I'd spent all my pose, after maybe a couple hours running through the depths, I had 400, and then I think
nice.
I think each piece is usually somewhere between like 150 and 250.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah.
But there's more pose statues in the depths.
Okay.
And
I haven't made it that far.
As you
yet.
unlock more things unlock in the store.
Oh, cool.
There's I don't know how much of this is a spoiler, but there's a unique outfit specifically from the pose.
Sweet. I'm excited because I know some of the amiibo drops the pose statues will have, and then some are like scattered across Hyrule or whatever. So, but yeah, it's really funny because a lot of people are comparing. They're doing like the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, which, to be fair, Majora's Mask is just, it's on its own universe. That game is so weird, right? But I am kind of seeing the resemblance a bit with like, the reusing of characters, the reusing of Hyrule, everything's different. And then like when I went to, minor spoiler, when I went to Rito Village and it was frozen over, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like Snowhead all over again.
It reminded me a lot of Zora's Domain. Like it's supposed to be temperate, but it was freezing. There's snow everywhere.
Yeah.
There's wind.
So two things. One, I haven't updated the game, and I don't know if I'm going to update the game because I want to keep all the glitches. And I don't know. You would think Nintendo would have already fixed it, but I'm kind of thinking they're not going to.
Yeah, I don't know. Because a big part of what, like the longevity of Ocarina of Time are some of the glitches.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if because like it's made to play however you want, and they just rolled out one. Have they done one update or have they done two?
I haven't seen it pop up with a second. There was the initial download after you bought it. But I think the version that's installed is 1.10.
I have all of my amiibos, but I do have 11 weapon amiibos that I saved from a long time ago. The cards, the NFC cards. So I can just scan a Fierce Deity sword whenever I want, or a Big Goron sword, like once a day. But I really hope they don't patch out the glitches because that's so cool.
Let's see, it's version 1.11 actually.
Okay. Yeah. So the other thing. The game's a 10 out of 10 for me because it's growing on me. But I will say it didn't hook me or capture nostalgia like Breath of the Wild did. Because I was coming out of a gaming hiatus, and then Breath of the Wild, like the minute I played it, I was like, oh my God, this is what I've wanted in a game forever. And Breath of the Wild felt like playing Ocarina of Time for the first time again. Like I love that it's a little bit more traditional and it's less overwhelming. I feel a little overwhelmed with Tears of the Kingdom.
Really?
Just with like
it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's overdone. It feels like a whole new game. Like I know it's the same Hyrule, but it doesn't feel the same to me.
I was actually nervous that I was about to beat the game, and fortunately it kept going after I did, a certain thing. But I almost think that there's an end game on this one because there's things like Hyrule Town Center, just north of Lookout Landing.
Mm-hmm.
There's pads for houses and shops and stuff. So I think there may be like a post-story story. Either that or it's going to be DLC at some point, but
I think it's going to be DLC. It's like rebuilding I do think there's going to be I do think there's two endings. I have a theory that there's going to be two endings, like either a good, a bad, or like in Breath of the Wild, you got one ending, but then if you got the memories, you got the true ending. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is going to be a trilogy? Because technically it kind of is with Hyrule Warriors or the Age of Calamity. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're going to make another game?
I don't know.
In with this?
I'm trying to...
With like what you've discovered with the story and stuff?
I really am not sure.
Okay. I'm just curious because like I think the story, I agree with you. I really do like the story in this one. Like, dude, the beginning, I legit
it's so creepy.
I almost stopped. Like in some of the other YouTubers that I've been listening to, like the malice and stuff, it's like Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. Like it's just it makes you uncomfortable in the hands. Oh my god.
So the hands thing. So you saw this in the Deku tree. Mm-hmm. But once you kill the hands, Phantom Ganon shows up, or Phantom Ganondorf.
I can't wait to tell you my fight with him.
Yeah, I'm curious how that went because like I was pretty overpowered at that point.
I have 5 hearts.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? That's like a one-hit kill.
Yep.
All right, you have to tell me about this.
I fused 2 Fierce Deity swords together, and then I fused 2 Big Goron swords together. And my Fierce Deity sword fused together has an attack power of 78. So yeah, it took me like 10 tries. But what I did was the hands would come near me, and the sword is so long, mm-hmm. I would just hit them. And then Phantom Ganon popped up, and I would hit, and then my top Fierce Deity sword would break. Because, when you fuse, it just sticks it together. Right. I would switch to the Big Goron sword and just spin attack around him. And I got him low, and then I don't know if it was a glitch, but I noticed, like, how there's like the little light roots in there? I got him in the corner, and he kept spamming the same attack. So I just pop, jump back, pop, jump back, and it killed him.
All right.
So I don't know, but that is how I whooped his ass.
Nice. All right. Well, I really am surprised because I felt like this game had a lot more of a rigid. It's less like Breath of the Wild in that if you want, you can get the glider and go straight to Hyrule Castle. Because this one is more story heavy, there's a path you're going to have to follow. Mm-hmm. I'm sure some people are going to find some way-ish around that. Either that or you have to follow the story to find out where to go to beat the game. Mm-hmm. That may still be fully accessible, and I'm sure speedrunners are going to get off the islands with their powers and go straight there.
Yeah. I think it's really cool because, like, in my first playthrough of Breath of the Wild, I did, like, 2 Divine Beasts and then got the Master Sword and did the other 2. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't feel right because usually in a Zelda, you do 3 dungeons, you get the Master Sword, you do the rest. So my second playthrough of Breath of the Wild, I was like, okay, I'm going to get enough hearts, I'm going to get enough stamina, I'm going to go get the Master Sword, and then do all the Divine Beasts, which was smart because the sword gets powerful when you do that. I don't know how the Master Sword, I just got it, so I don't know how it works in Tears of the Kingdom.
If you have full hearts and you act like you're going to throw it, it'll shoot an energy beam.
It'll shoot an energy beam? Does it still break?
Yeah. It still runs out of energy, and you have to give it a while, and it'll come back.
Okay.
But if you notice, it has no attack power on it.
There's right. No number. It doesn't have an attack. Yeah. So I am excited that I did get it because now I'm like, it's just really cool to like play a whole game with the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Because all the other Zelda games, you had to wait and then you get it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool that I kind of did the same thing I did on my second playthrough of Breath of the Wild. Like, I got to get the Master Sword, and then I'm going to go through each dungeon and, like, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. So the route that I took was probably about as normal as it gets. So, did the initial shrines, jumped down, did Lookout Landing. And then I started basically on my way to Rito Village, bounced around tower to tower.
Yeah.
And unlocked the map that way. Did that first temple. And then I think I bounced around a lot more, did more shrines, unlocked more towers. But I had the entire map unlocked before I finished the fourth temple.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I think I'm going to finish, I'm going to get all the towers because I'm just on a roll, like getting them. And then I'm going to do all the dungeons. And that way I can just see where everything is,
I think my next favorite thing I want to talk about is number one, the ascend ability. Do you know how many times I would get stuck in a room and like I'm like, I was like, Zelda
forget about it all the
never
time.
leaves you in a room with no way out. I was like, but I don't see anything here at all. And then I remember I have the ascend ability. But that is
it was a last minute add.
Was it really?
To the game too. Yeah, I believe oh man, I'm drawing a blank. It's my Kit and Krista, they were former Nintendo employees. They have a podcast now. And they were saying, like, I think it was like halfway through development cycle or something, Alnuma and them were like, okay, like, we've done so many caves, but it gets really boring being stuck and finding a way out. So they're like, why don't we just shoot through the ceiling?
I mean, it works. Some of the puzzles that are around Ascend are just so good.
It's so fun, man. And then, like, there's the one shrine, minor spoiler, where it's like Jenga. Have you done that one?
Yeah.
And, like, you try to, like, jump over there and you're like, I'm just going to ascend, and it falls through. So some of the glitching or ways around it do not work in this game. But
my second favorite thing, and I don't remember this being a thing, is the fact that side quests are split into two categories. There's side adventures now. So some of them are side adventures, some are side quests.
And then
some are shrine quests. So there's technically 4 categories of quests. Like there's your main story, there's the shrines, there's side adventures, and then side quests. So it's like the difference is that side adventures are just a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. So there's things like, have you been to Hatano Village?
Not yet.
Okay, because
no,
there's a whole
I think
thing
I'm going to go there in Kakariko.
There's a whole thing going on in Lurelin Village, which is the new one.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No, no.
So that's a new town that was not in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay. So there is a new town. It's not like the fishing. What's the fishing?
That is the fishing village. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to spoil that one. But yeah, there's just like the side content. There's so much more of it than there. I mean, in Breath of the Wild had a lot, but these are like more involved. They're a lot deeper. But yeah, the new caves, the wells.
The wells are, the wells are so fun. And then the other thing too, it's like, Breath of the Wild, you wake up 100 years later, so everybody's like fatigued, tired. There's not a whole lot to do, empty spaces. But Tears of the Kingdom, it's like people are eating together in stables, or like they're talking, and it's just cool to see like the sign guy, like you have to like hang up his signs, or the girl that like is walking around in like a costume, and she tells you where like certain armor pieces are. Like it's cool to see.
The Misko's treasure.
Yeah, like it's cool to see quirky characters again, because that's something I've really missed since like Wind Waker and stuff,
And of course, Beetle is still around.
Yeah, Beetle's still there. Yeah.
I don't use him as much as I used to, though.
Yeah, me neither. That's right.
He has some good monster parts occasionally. I did find something interesting. There's another trader that rolls around. He has a horse and wagon. I bought a yellow rhino beetle from him. And I was like, I have never seen, that bug before. So I bought it. I was like, I don't know what it does. But I went over and then I talked to Beetle to buy some arrows. And he noticed the beetle and wanted to trade it. Like he got really excited about having a rare bug.
Interesting.
So there's something about rare bugs and Beetle. I haven't
Yeah.
fully explored that one because the bugs are rare.
The bugs are rare. Yeah.
In more ways than one, I also have run into very few actual bugs in this game.
Yeah.
The only time,
So like bugs or like glitch bugs?
like bugs, like game breaking bugs.
Yeah, I noticed when I was in Lost Woods or Korok Forest, no slowdowns, which, to be fair, Breath of the Wild was originally a Wii U game, then ported to Switch, so like I could see why. Which Breath of the Wild wasn't terrible, but like I've had a little bit of pop in and stuff, but like frame rate, all that, it feels just slightly resolution and the speed of the game feel a little bit better than Breath of the Wild did.
I've had some issues when building with frame rate.
Yes, and tell me if you have this. There's a slight delay when you're fusing items to your bow.
I don't know that.
So I have that which I need to update the game. It might fix it. But when I'm going and I put like a bomb flower on an arrow and then I let off the menu, it's like a point, like a millisecond, and then it changes.
I don't know that I've noticed that one.
Yeah, it's like a very, very, very small thing. But
the closest,
yeah, I mean it's a beautiful game.
The closest thing that I have to an actual bug is the dragon that you were talking about. I was, I think, over Kakariko Village, and I noticed that dragon flying into the depths, or at least a dragon flying into the depths. And so I flew over there and jumped on it. I wanted to see where it was going. And I was, the big tunnel that when you're going down, I landed on it, and as soon as I touched the dragon, the game froze for like 35 seconds. And then it picked right back up and kept going. But I thought I had crashed it.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the only thing I've seen.
Is that where you got the Master Sword?
No.
In the depths.
No. So the Deku Tree, which, speaking of Zelda pronunciation, they do actually say Deku at one point in this one. And I was like, oh, okay, there it is. I'm kind of excited that we have voice acting now, because now there's official pronunciations for things.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have one last topic.
Okay.
The music in this one is so much better than Breath of the Wild. So
okay.
you don't think so?
Like I said before, I think the music in Breath of the Wild matched the atmosphere very well, and I think the music in Tears of the Kingdom matches it as well. Like when you get near the zone, I love when you get a light whatever ball from doing a shrine, and it's like that like that choir sound. I think it's just as good for me. I don't think it's like over the top from Breath of the Wild.
I think you might need to do more of the temples and stuff. It's the story is where the music really starts to come in.
Yeah.
But did you notice in Rito Village that it's a slowed down version of Dragon Roost Island?
Yes. Yeah, and it is in Breath of the Wild as well.
Was it?
It's
okay.
Yeah. But did you notice when Link cooks, he sings the Lost Woods theme?
I didn't notice that
he
one.
Goes, yeah,
nice.
He does that. So there's like little tiny things that they added that I really like. I do like the music though. I think it's really good.
I think a lot of it is around the story. It's during cutscenes is where a lot of the music has gotten really good. And then from the music from the trailer that kicks in, if you jump off of a sky island and immediately hold down dive for like a little while, it starts to play that theme.
Does
and
it
then
really?
It'll play until you touch the ground.
Oh, that's cool. I love the piano music in the sky. Like when you jump out of a tower and it's nice.
Yeah.
It's good.
There was another one, and you're not there yet. It has to do with the Great Fairies, but Epona's song makes an appearance.
Does it really? Man. Oh yeah, the horses carry over, so that was cool. So
yeah, apparently it didn't. I don't know if I had started a new save or what, but none of my horses were there. But my sister mentioned that all of her horses and their armor were there.
Armor? The horse's armor? Oh, wow. I was about to say, like, normal armor from the game. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I need to double check. Yeah, because I had quite a bit of
She
armor.
mentioned something. It was like battle armor or something that she had gotten for her horse. And that came over. I guess because it was equipped on her horse.
so this is going to be kind of like a little off topic from Tears of the Kingdom. And I definitely want to talk. Maybe we can do a 2-part of this once I do, because I am going to do it. I'm going to try to do a dungeon tonight.
Okay.
I'd love to talk
They
more
take
about it and get.
It took me about an hour.
Okay. Yeah. It's so funny in your camera right now. The corner of your video game shelf, it looks like you have Link ears, Hylian ears. He dressed up for this episode. Let's end with this topic.
Okay.
What do you see Zelda games doing next? Because a little bit of gaming news. Alnuma came out and said Ocarina of Time is a fantastic game, but they were held back a lot because of the story and, restrictions to hardware. But he said this is the new Zelda. Like, open world Zelda is a green light across the board. Mm-hmm. What would you like to see next after playing Tears of the Kingdom?
So the shrines, dungeons, temples, whatever, it's closer to what I hoped out of like a more traditional Zelda.
Some of the shrines I legit had fun with, like the pinball segment ones or something like that, or the golfing one where you have to like smack the ball. Yeah. I actually was like, I would replay that shrine.
Yeah.
So.
I think this one, because of the more side quests, it feels more Zelda-y to me. There's a lot longer side adventures that are more reminiscent of like maybe some of the trading quests and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the bubbles, which reminds me a lot of Gold Skulltulas.
Yes.
Yeah. And have you met those? Do you remember in Breath of the Wild there was the brother you could sell monster parts to?
Yes, I met
Okay,
them.
yeah, so he has a brother now that's really into bubble gems. So yeah, now you can trade those for prizes, which is very, very similar. So I think they kind of brought it back just a little. There's like a compromise between Breath of the Wild and more traditional Zeldas. So I think we may even start to see a little bit even more of kind of like that pendulum swinging back to the middle. Yeah. Where maybe we do get a little bit more traditional things, because with this one they're leaning more into the story, and I'm kind of hoping that they continue to do that. And it's just finding that sweet spot between open world, do what you want, when you want, where you want, and then having some sort of structure enough to tell a story.
I 100% agree with you with that. I have a couple theories. I think they're gonna make like a conclusion, like a full-blown trilogy with it. That's kind of like my least middle theory, maybe. I agree with exactly what you said, like finding a balance, I have a feeling Nintendo's going to play catch up with other gaming companies like Final Fantasy and Resident Evil and start doing the remake treatments and maybe give it Breath of the Wild formulas. So like a full-blown Ocarina of Time remake, but it's open world.
That
or something along those lines. Yeah.
I'm curious how that would be received. It's like, I want a full remaster of like just Ocarina of Time, but I would be interested in like a remake.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if they're going to start doing that, because Nintendo typically doesn't do that. They occasionally will do a game on some better hardware. But yeah, I mean, a conclusion to the Breath of the Wild stuff, like you said, making a Zelda game that's like, I would be okay with a whole new thing. Like, okay, like that timeline's done. Let's make a brand new game, but have the balance of like exploration, open world, and good story. So, but
I just thought of something with the what feels like preparation for the entire map to eventually kind of like lean toward maybe a rebuilding DLC or something. I wonder if we'll get another full game set in a rebuilt Hyrule. Like, castle's back to functioning, the actual city is back. like another 15, 20 years has passed.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, I mean, right at the beginning of the game, learning about the Zonai, that opens a whole new timeline.
Yeah.
Because, like, in Skyward Sword, you don't know about the Zonai. You just know that you're in the sky and you come across Fee, you learn about the ground, and you build the Master Sword. You learn about Demise, who eventually is Ganon or whatever, But, like, figuring out the Zonai and the story behind it and everything is like, holy crap, this is a whole new race. This is a whole new... So maybe, like, you'll have rebuilt Hyrule, but then it's going to be more sky stuff. Because, I mean, eventually we got to go to space, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've got...
The Twilight Realm.
We have the
space.
Earth, above the Earth, and below the Earth.
Yeah.
So I don't know where else they can go, unless we end up sailing again.
Do you think this is the last big Nintendo Switch game this year?
Like regular Switch? Oh, I think that's... Oh wait, no, not Zelda game. Switch, like Nintendo first party game?
Yeah.
This year? Yeah, probably.
I have a feeling, like we said a few episodes ago, I think they're going to, because there's talks of the Paper Mario remaster, Thousand Year Door, F-Zero. There have been some leaks that Metroid Prime 4 will release this holiday. But there's theories that it's going to be like a Switch game and a Switch 2 game. Kind of like
so
the whole,
So you
Twilight
think
Princess.
potentially there's going to be a new console by Christmas?
I don't think it'll be out by Christmas, but I think they're going to announce it in November. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think...
I can't imagine they would. That would hurt their Switch sales for December.
But the Switch sales are declining.
Okay, so maybe they're good with the numbers, and they're just like...
Yeah, like it's still doing great. It's still selling well, and especially, I mean, what did they say? This was like the highest selling Zelda game, like
I bet, yeah,
like or the fastest selling one. But I think because Aonuma came out and said they're already working on the next Zelda game.
Like, so it's going to be about probably 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, 5 years, 6 years. Unless we get our Wind Waker Twilight Princess ports this year. Could be a possibility for that.
I can dream.
Maybe a new top-down Zelda. I think they could bring a Link Between Worlds over. That'd be cool.
I'm curious because it's interesting that 2 of the biggest outfits in Tears of the Kingdom is the Fierce Deity outfit and the Wind Waker outfit. So I can't tell if it's a hint, but those are like the first 2 game reference outfits that you get, and then the big Goron sword.
Yeah, and the fact that the Fierce Deity armor and the big Goron sword are side by side on the map. Did you catch that?
I got mine from Amiibos.
Oh, you did?
I haven't found those. Well, I found the Fierce Deity. But after doing that quest, I haven't found the big Goron sword in game.
Okay, well,
I do have it displayed in
my
house though.
Go to the right of it, and you'll find a piece of Fierce Deity, or something Fierce Deity. So it's really cool that they put them side by side in the Skull Lake.
Okay, that's where. Okay, that's where it was.
Because both those games go hand in
hand. I got all the Fierce Deity things from the quest. I didn't realize it was something in the other Skull Lake High. Okay, so I'll go check that out. Because guess what I'll probably do when we get off this call?
Play that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Zelda next. I mean, it's always a surprise. Like, and I am enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. It doesn't have that, like... I would say it was exciting. I really got into it. Like, I busted out all the Amiibos. Picked up a couple. But, like, Breath of the Wild was the game changer for me. Like, and honestly, I do miss stasis. Like, I know if I had to choose my least favorite fuse power, I don't like the rewind as much.
I use it all the time.
I think it's fun, but, like, I do miss just, like, pausing something and hitting it
Yeah.
and
So
knocking it into somebody.
there's a couple of good uses for. I just went blank on rewind. Is that what it's called? Rewind?
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Recall?
Recall,
maybe?
yeah. There's a couple of really good uses for it. Number one, Stone Talus. They throw
I
their
didn't
fists
even
at
think
you,
about that.
and you pause it, and it tosses it back at them, and it'll knock them prone.
Didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Number two is those big constructs that you find in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
When they flatten out and they go up in the air and they throw like 4 or 5 cubes at you, freeze one and hop on top of it, and it'll take you to the top.
Nice.
And then number 3 is when you make a glider, use your ultra hand to raise it in the air and then drop it, and then recall it and jump on top of it. And then when it's in the air, cancel recall and you can glide.
I've done stuff like that. Yeah.
Because like it's really sometimes it's really annoying to get those gliders to start going if you don't have a cart or something, or don't want to waste a cart. So just recall it into the air and go from there.
So you mentioned Tears of the Kingdom's hitting your top 5 Zeldas. Which one would it knock out of your
So
top 5?
I'm actually trying to remember what my top 5 were. I know it was A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time,
Ocarina,
Link's Awakening, Oracle of Seasons.
yeah.
And I think Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah.
I think those were my top 5.
Because your honorable mention was Phantom Hourglass and stuff. So.
And Breath of the Wild, I think, were in my honorable mentions. That's going to probably have to knock, especially after playing it recently, like Oracle of Seasons and Ages out.
Wow.
So I'm going to put it. I put it up there with so far. Now like once I give it time, I could see maybe its location changing a little. But like right now I'm full into it. Like I think about it. I found the soundtrack on YouTube. Somebody ripped all the files and put them all together, and I've just been like listening to Rito Village and a couple of the other ones.
So my top 5 Zeldas changed. I'll keep it short, but definitely Ocarina, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild. I put Majora's Mask back in my top 5. I started replaying it, and I went back. I'm almost done with the Snow Peak or whatever. I think Majora's is the 5th one because of what I put A Link to the Past. I think it was like a tie, obviously, between all of them. Tears of the Kingdom might knock Majora's out because it's so cool that I see the resemblance, and I'm playing as like fierce deity,
Right?
Like, and it's so cool. Like once again, Tears of the Kingdom gives me that replay value because, like you said, like I liked the Divine Beasts, but the idea that we have dungeons again is really cool.
Cool your expectations on that. It's a compromise.
Ooh. Okay.
So it's not full on like keys and all of that.
I figured that. Like I figured it would be similar to
and
Divine Beasts.
It's very formulaic, but so every temple is largely the same goal, which is do all these things, fight bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit similar to the Divine Beasts. But yeah, so just kind of don't go in expecting like full on old school dungeons.
I didn't expect that in the first place because, like, honestly, if I'm being real, I don't want to go back to that. Like, I'll replay older Zelda games for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay
I do kind of miss it though.
Yeah, I mean, the nostalgia, and also too, like, the speed running. Like, if I go here and do this, like, patterns and stuff. But I am okay with, like, something kind of short. Because the game has so much to explore.
Yeah.
I don't want to be trapped in a
I get it.
water temple.
Yeah. And these ones, like, usually it'll warp you to a pretty central location. The Goron area, I think, was my favorite of the temples.
Cool.
So that one's a cool one.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to do that tonight. Well, that wraps up this episode. You anxious gamers, be sure to check us out every Thursday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
And if you're also playing Tears of the Kingdom right now, be sure to let us know in the comments what you think of it. Where does this rank in your games, and is it everything that you hoped it would be?
And who knows, maybe we'll do another giveaway soon. Zelda related.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah. All right. Take it easy, and remember, it's dangerous to go alone.